I think when we look at the future of dental meetings, people are going to want more of a reason than CE to get their butts on a plane. They're going to want to have fun. They're going to want to have friendships. They're going to want to have an experience, and they're going to want to learn. So I think this is the future of dental meetings. The bar is higher. People want something different. So we're here to support that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of the Raving Patients Podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Dr. Lentau, and I wanted to have this special episode. As many people know, I had an amazing event in September of 2023 in Delray Beach, Florida. It was called Supercharge Your Dental Practice. 2024 is going to be in Scottsdale, but the event was so successful. We had 218 attendees, 185 dentists. The rest were team members. We had 33 sponsors. We had 16 amazing speakers as well. And it was a talk of the town. It was all over social. I told you about we're doing 2024 in Scottsdale. But before that, I decided to work with a couple of people and put together another amazing event that's going to take place in Bermuda called Supercharge Your Practice with the Big Cases, with a focus on dental implants and clear aligners. And the people that I partnered with have a very popular spot in those spaces. So the podcast today is with Allison Lacoursiere from Clearly IG and Your Clear Aligner, and Matthew Petchel from Brand Target. Allison is the clear aligner guru out there, the queen of clear aligners, and Matthew is with Brand Target, and he's obviously helping a lot of people with dental implants. So I want to welcome them both to my podcast, and we're going to spend the next 15, 20 minutes talking about this great event that is happening in Bermuda. So welcome to the Raving Patients Podcast, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's first talk about the venue. Let's talk about why we chose Bermuda. Allison has lived in Bermuda for many, many years. So Allison, I'm going to have you lead off and kind of give us an idea about what Bermuda's like, why people should come. And then let's talk about the unique things we're going to do at the event so people can take advantage of being on the island.
Yeah, absolutely. I am so excited about welcoming people to my island home. As you said, Len, I've lived there for the last 14 years. And I worked and managed a dental practice there for 10. And so there are a lot of misconceptions about Bermuda. People think that it's in the Caribbean. It's not. It's actually parallel to North Carolina. So it's in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean all by itself. And it's actually a British colony. So many people think it's this kind of like island vibe. It's like tourism. But the reality is it is an international business hub. And so a lot of beautiful high-end restaurants, a lot of like really gorgeous, stunning hotels. The quality of life there is really, really amazing. And it has some of the best beaches in the world. And I heard that they had the best beaches in the world. But then when I started to travel outside of Bermuda and go to different places, I realized it was really true. So they do have the pink sand beaches. And it's a really, really special place. So one of the things about Bermuda too, people always ask like, oh, the Bermuda Triangle. And I'm just going to demystify this for any of you that are thinking like, yeah, I want to go to Bermuda, but I don't want to get stuck in the triangle or get lost at sea or crash my airplane. It's a myth. It really is. But it is founded in something. So the island, the reason why the beaches are so special and so pristine and so perfect is there's actually a reef that sits all the way around the island that when early sailors were sailing into the island, they would see the island right in front of them and then crash their ship on the reef. So if you're a scuba diver, there's so many different wrecks to dive around the island, but it's just a really, really special place. And this is going to be one of the most amazing venues I think we could ever have for a dental event. And this is something we thought about as a team ahead of time. We're like, how do we build an event that not only provides doctors with incredible education and tangible steps to take back to their practice to grow and up-level their business, but also be a place that they can come and relax and enjoy one of the most special places in the world. So I'm very biased to Bermuda, but I think when you come and you explore this really special island, you'll see that it's very different than any other island you've ever been to. And we've really curated an experience that you won't forget.
So I don't know if anybody ever knew this because we haven't talked about Bermuda in a public setting for me yet. But I actually got engaged in Bermuda. So I was there. I went on, I chartered a boat and got engaged in the water. So that was a long time ago. That was 18 years ago. But Bermuda has always held a very special place in my heart because of that. My parents took me there many times for dental conferences with Clinician's Choice, growing up. And then when I was in dental school as a dentist. So I love Bermuda. I love the island. I'm really excited that we're going to bring our event there. So, how are we going to, really give the opportunity for the attendees to take advantage of the island. Matthew, why don't you talk a little bit about the format of the event?
First and foremost, the event itself, picking Bermuda was such an easy choice, not just because Allison knows it so well and because you were engaged there, which is obviously now there's this great story behind it. It's unique and different. And so many events, in our industry are kind of at the same places over and over and over and over. And this is like it's a fresh new take on it. And, when we were developing it, it was, how can we make the format different? How can we get different speakers that people haven't maybe seen before that are really at the top of their game? How can we go somewhere new and exciting, different? And it's kind of all of those things. It's not any one thing that's making this, event unique. It's all of that. So, our format is 3 days of learning. But what we decided to do is go 8 to 2, 8 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, and then give the afternoons free because if you're going to go to Bermuda, somewhere that beautiful, you want to be able to enjoy it and not just have to feel like you got in, got out, and didn't really see anything, didn't really feel it. And I think we also like the idea of it being learn in the morning and then the afternoon, whatever you're going to do in your personal time, if you bring your spouse or your team or whatever, you can reflect on what you've learned and relax and enjoy. And it's not just a hustle, get there, get in, get out. And so we really like that. So the learning is 6 hours every day, really focused, general session for everybody. And then some master classes, some on implants, some on aligners. And you can kind of pick and choose where you're going. And then we go from there. So we're excited.
Let's talk about the content itself, because I think the content is what separates us from other meetings. Look, the venue does as well, but we're bringing some top-notch people to talk. So you mentioned keynotes. We have 3 keynotes, one keynote each day for an hour and a half. And then we have 2 breakout sessions or more each day. Again, focused on one on implants and one on the clear aligners. And then we have a general session again to end each of the days. But let's talk about some of the people who are going to be there, at the event to help us, put on this amazing opportunity.
The speakers are top of their game people on the implant side and the aligner side. Dr. Jeff Buski out of Texas is got a really emotional and powerful story. We've got Dr. Stephen Rasner, who is, his story is a completely different, but amazing on how he's grown his business, and his practice with implants. And, we're going to talk a little bit about full arch. This isn't focused 100% on full arch, but we're going to talk sort of almost like a how to get started on full arch, which is, if you're in implants, if you're not doing implants, you're going to eventually do implants. And then once you start doing implants, you're going to want to do more implants because of what it does for the challenge and because of the profitability and because of everything that goes with it. And then eventually you're going to want to go into full arch because from the doctors that I talk to, it's rediscovering dentistry in a way because the challenge is so great and it just changes their business. It transforms their business. So, and there's others on case acceptance, and we've got one of the premier lab technicians going to talk about the future of materials. It's a really, really powerful, interesting. We're covering a lot of bases and getting from all angles, and it's going to be, the content is awesome. That's all I can say is the content and the speakers are awesome, and that's just on the implant side. On the aligner side, it's just as great. It might even be a little bit better. I'm not sure.
So, Allison, do you want to give us a little bit sneak peek at those who are speaking on the aligner side? I want to save our kind of special guest speaker doing one of the keynotes till the end of this to go over with it, but focus on the aligner side right now. Who are those speakers who are going to be there? And you are so involved in the aligner space, and you handpick some of these speakers to be at our event.
Yeah, absolutely. Being inside of a practice that focuses on aligners, I've gotten to see what are the things that hold people back from success with aligners. And part of it's clinical, but a lot of it is mindset and systems and team. And so I made sure I reached out to Dr. Sunny Gill out of Toronto, and he actually moved an event to be able to come to Bermuda because he knew how special this event would be. And he is all over the country right now. He is on fire. Everyone wants him to speak at their event because he brings this energy and this passion and this system. He's a multi-practice owner. Invisalign and clear aligners have transformed his practice. And so he's here to teach us about what happened, how did that work for him, and how can you also implement that into your practice. And then another woman that I've been able to actually co-speak with a lot, Kathy Hazen. She is I like the magic that I have learned from this woman as it relates to case acceptance is just out of this world. She is one of the best case acceptance speakers I've ever heard when it comes to clear aligner acceptance. And she has years and years of kind of background in getting people to say yes on the day. So her data, the way that she transforms practices, like I'm just so excited for the teams that are going to be there to be able to experience her. And it's just going to be all about bringing your mindset, your skill set to that next level. Like we know that change is not easy. And we know that when we're looking at these goals in the future, there is a skill set component to it, but there's also a systems and a mindset a component to it. So we're bringing both of those things to you to make sure that when you walk away, there's nothing in the way of you supercharging your practice with these big cases.
I had a doctor ask me the other day, it's like, well, if I'm just doing implants and I don't do aligners, is this a good fit for me? This is a good fit for if you're doing both but want to do more, but it's also a great fit if you're doing a lot of implants but want to do more aligners. You don't have to pick and choose. There's content here that is so good for everybody as long as you're doing them and you want to then sort of light it on fire and go to the next level. That's the right audience for this. So if you're that practice that's doing them, like, all right, I like doing this, but I need to do more. I want to do more. I need to find these tips and tricks and these secrets. This is the place for you.
So I told you, we went over, and there's more speakers, by the way. We just didn't name them all. And Matthew, I know you're really excited about this. We were introduced to somebody by Allison. He happens to be on the island as well. But we're bringing out what I would call a special guest. He's not really involved in the dental industry at all. In fact, I don't think he's involved in the dental industry at all in any way, shape, or form. But why don't you introduce him, Matthew? Allison, because you were the one who made the relationship. And I want Matthew because I know on our calls with him, he was so excited afterwards. So I want him to get kind of the listeners and the viewers pumped about this guest. So Allison, introduce him. And then Matthew, why don't you go ahead and talk about, what he's going to bring to the table?
So one of the benefits of living in Bermuda is that you actually get to be around, like it's a small island. There's 60,000 people there. You really kind of get to be among like some of the greatest people that I've ever met. They're, the island's a very peaceful place. And so you get a lot of like CEOs, you get a lot of people that have done a lot of really exceptional things. And so Stuart actually reached out to me on LinkedIn a few years ago and he's like, I think we should connect. It looks like you're doing some really cool things in the world. And he owns a company called Clarity Institute on the island, which is a leadership platform that trains and teaches all the insurance companies, all of the big 5 companies that are on the island. He has like a YPO event every year where he has people flying in. So him and I connected and we've been working with him for the last few years. And he's one of the smartest people I've ever met. And when we were talking a few months ago, he was telling me about some of the projects he was working on as it relates to AI. So I wanted to make sure that I introduced him to this group so that we could really learn from him and have him as a part of the event.
And Matthew, Stuart Lacey is a leader in AI. So why don't you kind of give an idea of what he's going to bring to the table? Because again, like I said, I know you were like really pumped after we spoke to him a couple of times when we were inquiring about his availability to be at the event.
I think Allison's kind of underselling him a lot because she's friends with him. But he's in a short period of time, I've become like a fanboy of Stuart Lacey's because of his knowledge is incredible in this space. And it's not specific. His expertise is about AI, generative AI, not really in the dental industry, but we're going to help sort of merge those together. We're working with him on special content that he's never delivered anywhere else. It's a unique presentation that is going to be truly, unique and mind blowing. And I think every time we do a call with him, it's like, oh man, we've got to really frame this right because we could do an all day course, and Stuart could literally teach an all day course to dentists on this. But we're going to sort of bake it down into 90 minutes. We're going to talk about things like how to use AI in hiring and retaining staff, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, pain point in a practice. Finding new patients and using it in marketing. We're going to use it for the data of meeting production and collection and expenses and all that. He's going to sort of do an overview, and then he's going to go into these very specific topics on here's how you can use it today or next week when you get back, and give some really clear direction on how to do that. And And then we made sure that we're saving time for Q&A, because to me, there could be hours of Q&A on this. And the content is just really unique, different, but it's going to be specialized. It's not going to be that kind of content where you go, oh, wow, that was really cool. It has nothing to do with me. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. We've kind of taken that next step with him and said, all right, let's make this actionable so you can learn something and go with it.
I also think that like whoever is sitting in that lecture is going to walk out and have more knowledge than like 99% of the dental industry as it relates to like what is the future of AI. I've, spent 15 minutes with him and I left my jaw on the floor because I'm like, I didn't know any of this. And he's getting it from, Meta, from MIT. Like he's working with these big groups that are on the forefront of this knowledge and information. I'm so excited and grateful that we can actually bring this into the dental industry.
I second and third, what you guys said. He was great to talk to, and I'm really excited I'll make sure that during the event I'm in the room for that one, especially because obviously when we run the event, we're going to be running around without a head on sometimes, making sure the event is put on really well. I always talk about kind of the reason why I put my event on, and my event was really to change the way events are perceived. I have a great relationship with the sponsors. Obviously, I know a lot of the speakers in the industry, being one myself, and I wanted to really put a different event on because attending as many events that I've attended, some of them, they lack the speakers, they lack the location, they lack a lot of things. So I wanted to spend the last few minutes that we're together here kind of talking about, what's going to make this event different or why or how we're trying to change the landscape of events overall. I'm almost at an event every single week. And when I do my recap, I've been more disappointed recently than saying, wow, this thing was amazing. So let's spend a couple minutes talking about where we are in the industry and how this is going to kind of hopefully change the way people look at events.
Events are changing. They're changing faster now than they had in the past. And I know the three of us have been to, it would be safe to say we've been to thousands of dental events, over the years, right? And big ones, small ones, focused ones, resort ones, specialty ones. And there's something about you. Sometimes it's hard to describe, but when you're at an event and the energy's there and it's just one of those type of events. And those have become harder and harder to find. There's big events for sure, and there's not a lot of energy and there's not a lot of excitement. And then there's smaller ones that just sort of, are okay. And then there's some medium ones. So this was the whole goal of this was to sort of try to take the best of all that and bake it into one thing. And it's not one thing that makes an event great. I don't believe it's all of it. And we have taken between the location, the speakers, the content, the speakers outside of dentistry, the companies that are supporting it, the everything, all the little details are adding up, and it's becoming just really unique. And it's the energy, and it's going to be connection, networking, new things outside to get you to think. And you said it earlier, Allison, and I think it's a big part of this. And a lot of the speakers talk about it is this growth mindset. It's so important. And almost every speaker, you'll hear those words out of their mouth. And when you start hearing things like that over and over, I think it helps, change you and sort of push you and get you to be that better version of you that you want to be to grow your practice and take it to the next level, that's what we're all about.
And Allison, you want to add to that?
I came into the industry at a really interesting time. Like I became a well-known speaker in 2020. And so I was virtual for some of like the bigger events like Seattle Study Club, the Ortho Summit, the GP Summit. And it was a really interesting experience because when we got into real life again and going to like some of the bigger meetings, they're pretty empty. And I think we all thought like, they're all just going to fill back up again and we're going to go back to normal. But I don't actually think that's what happened. I think 2020 kind of kicked us into the reality of online education and learning. And so now doctors and practices are realizing, wait a second, I don't have to get my CEs at a big convention center and go to one of these places where it doesn't feel personal and I'm not in a location that's like really exciting and awesome. They're realizing that they can get their CE from the comfort of their home. And so if they're going to travel, there seems to be a propensity or a tendency to want to travel for an experience and the education, the relationships and the education. And in my opinion, over the last 3 years that I've been at a conference almost every weekend, the energy and the experience and the education all came together the best at the Supercharge Your Dental conference that you hosted, Dr. Tao. And like, I'm not just saying that because I had a great time there and it was fun. It was actually electric. Like there was all of the pieces that Matthew was talking about combined to bring together what people want and need right now. And so when we're thinking about Bermuda, we're like, okay, we want to bring an experience. We also want to bring the relationships. And I think that's what's different about a smaller meeting. Like at your event, Len, doctors were like, I couldn't believe I got to speak with some of the speakers. I got to sit and talk to the vendors for 15 minutes. It wasn't just this like rush through of like learn, get on a giant floor, not connect and meet with anyone. It was really intentionally designed to build relationships. And that's what we're going to do because people want something different now. They need something different now because what got them here isn't going to get them there. And they know that. And so I think when we look at the future of dental meetings, people are going to want more of a reason than CE to get their butts on a plane. They're going to want to have fun. They're going to want to have friendships. They're going to want to have an experience and they're going to want to learn. So I think this is the future of dental meetings. I love it. I think it's great. Like the bar is higher. People want something different. So we're here to support that.
And that's great. I mean, I agree with everything you said. One of the things I wanted to make sure we cover before we end, is who the event's for. Okay. Because it's not only for a doctor. It's really for doctor and their main team members. So Matthew, why don't you take that and talk about that just for a couple of minutes about who we're really gearing this event for and why we're gearing it for those particular people.
Sure. Yeah. And it's definitely, the doctor has to attend, the business owner, the doctor. This isn't like something you send your team to. There's just too much doctor content, to miss it. Now there's very little, if any, clinical. We're not doing any hands-on. We're not, teaching any techniques. It's more like learning from people who are maybe 5 years ahead, and in their practice growth and where you want to be. So it's for general dentists or the super GPs that's doing some of these procedures and just wants to do more. And that's the sweet spot of this. There's so much content that'll be covered to make each of those, whether it's you're on the aligner side or you're on the implant side or you're both. If ideally you're doing both, but you think you can do both better, this is the dream boot camp conference for you because you can do both of these at the same time. You don't have to just go to one and just go to the other. It's, bring the right team member and you can do multiple tracks and you can cover a lot of ground and learn a lot. So that's the group. But in the team member, that's all based personally, on the practice, on how much value that team member has in you. If you've got a strong business operations person or treatment coordinator, or somebody who you really trust, that's like your sidekick on this type of this focus of your business, then they're definitely there's value in bringing them. And we've got practices that are bringing teams because it's kind of in a cool destination. We've got partners and sponsors that are bringing the whole 5 people because it's a chance to sort of make it like a retreat for them. So open up, I guess I'd say is if growth mindset is something that we're going to talk a lot about, it's like open up your mind to this and go, all right, this is more than just a typical conference where I can go get 18 CE and learn a little bit from a couple of people I've heard. It's so much bigger and better than that.
Allison, any final words from you on that?
Yeah, I would say I was that kind of super team member in my practice. I would learn and I would apply and I'd come back into practice. And my doctor and I were like brainstorming all the time, creating all the time. And he, the reality is he couldn't have done what he did in his practice without me at the time. And it was so good for the practice to have me as an implementer, as an office manager, as a TC running the clear aligner section. And that's what we're going to create for you. And, one of my clients shared with me, the best thing that happened in her practice last year was up-leveling one of her team members because it created just this insane momentum in the practice. The whole team was happier, more revenue in the practice. And that's the reality. A lot of people are talking about team right now. Where do I find good team? How do I support my team? How do I keep my team? And one of the best ways to do that is invest in them and treat them like a business partner for you. And that's the event that we're creating. We're going to give them the tools to be able to be a partner in your success.
Let's recap the event. It's May 30th through June 1st. It's at the Hamilton Princess Hotel in Bermuda. We have 8 to 2 p.m. each day. So you'll have almost all the afternoon to explore the island and do something on your own. We have speakers galore. We have actionable content. We have some great sponsors as well. So as we wrap, let's give everybody, an opportunity to save some additional money. So we have early bird pricing, available for the first, how many people that are signing up, Matthew?
Yeah, there's 16 spots left on early bird tickets.
So we have early bird tickets based on attendance, and we're offering people who are listening $200 off the early bird pricing. The $200 the code we're going to give you in a minute is going to extend for all time. But if you want to take advantage of the early bird and then save an additional $200 on that, use the code Raving Patience, the name of the podcast, Raving Patience. And the website is superchargeyourbigcases.com. Again, the code is Raving Patience to save $200 on the early bird special that will end when we have a full number of complimentary tickets sold for the early bird pricing. So reach out to myself, reach out to Allison, reach out to Matthew if you have any questions regarding the event as well. Any final words, Matthew or Allison?
We'll see you in Bermuda.
Yeah, we'll see you in Bermuda. This is exciting. It's really dig in and look at this. But if you're ready, this is for you. You'll know it when you see what we're building here and visit the site and look at the speakers and see what we're doing. It should click right away. If it doesn't click, then you're not ready for it, because this isn't the kind of thing you come to and then go back to the same old. This is, you're going to come and then you're going to make changes in your practice to really grow it.
And guys, if you think one of your colleagues would fit the avatar that we're looking for, please share the podcast. Please let them know about the event. Send them a message. Hey, check out superchargeyourbigcases.com. May 30th to 31st and June 1st at the Hamilton Princess Hotel in Bermuda. We look forward to seeing everybody in Bermuda. Matthew and Allison, thank you so much for joining me. And always remember, your reputation matters. Till the next episode, thank you guys for joining me, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thanks, Len.
Bye.